Signs are all around us. We see them every day. They warn us of danger and identify things we wouldn't know if the sign wasn't there. Signs are guides that point us in the right direction so that we arrive at our intended destination. While all four Gospels record the miracles of Jesus, John's Gospel specifically refers to them as signs. In doing so, he draws our attention beyond the miracles themselves to the direction they point and their invitation to every reader to begin a lifelong journey of faith. When John first met Jesus, he was likely only a teenager. But even then, he thought he knew the direction his life was headed. In the coming weeks, his all-consuming goal would be to beat his friends, Peter and Andrew, in the daily haul of fish. In the coming years, he'd likely marry a girl from his hometown and start a family. And in the coming decades, his father Zebedee would probably pass on the family business to him and his brother James. His life would no doubt have its difficulties, but it would be good, financially secure, and definitely normal. But the direction of John's life suddenly changed the day he met Jesus. Jesus was like no one he had ever known. He stood out like a light in a dark room, drawing people of all types. His very being exuded life, and that life spilled over into everything he did. What's more, Jesus promised to give to John, and to others, the same life that he had in himself, freely and abundantly. From Jesus, John also experienced love like he had never known, and he came to view Jesus' love for him as the core of his identity. It transformed John from a man searching for prominence and bent on vengeance to one with a passion for loving others in the same way Jesus loved him. Along with experiencing his great love, John witnessed Jesus perform deeds of great power and authority. Yet at the same time, he was shocked by Jesus' embrace of humility and sacrifice. No matter what he faced, Jesus remained steadfast, even when abandoned by his closest friends and handed over by religious leaders to die the most shameful death in the ancient world, on a Roman cross. At first, when John saw these things, he could not understand them. And it wasn't until after the resurrection and Jesus' sending of his Spirit that he and the other disciples finally began to understand what they had seen and heard. The Spirit revealed to them that both the power and humility of Jesus were signs. These signs pointed not only to his identity as the Messiah, but also to the glory that Jesus shared with the Father from the beginning, even before the creation of the world. Jesus was God who had become man. In Jesus, God himself had lived among them and had made the Father known. The Spirit illuminated this reality about Jesus for John and the other disciples, and also gave them the courage to boldly preach in Jesus' name. But some priests and Sadducees grew angry over the growing popularity of their message and had John and Peter arrested. But along with understanding and boldness, the Spirit also brought comfort, reminding them that Jesus had said this very thing would happen, and that he too had been rejected by his own people. As the persecution grew more intense in Jerusalem, many Jesus followers left to find safety in other regions. At first, John and the other apostles remained in the city despite the danger. But after a time, the Spirit directed some of them to build up other churches throughout the empire with their eyewitness testimony. Peter may have gone to Rome, and several reports suggest that John settled in Ephesus. But the apostles couldn't be everywhere, and they were growing old. It became clear that reliable written accounts were needed that were traceable to people who had actually been with Jesus. Mark, Matthew, and Luke wrote their Gospels first, and John fully agreed with their testimonies. However, After decades of spirit-inspired reflection on Jesus' life, he felt compelled to write a fourth gospel. Rather than include many short stories, John presented a select number of longer teachings of Jesus. Some of these teachings centered around specific miracles, which he referred to as signs. John may have been prompted to write in this way because of his concern for Christian Jews in the diaspora. These Jews had come to believe that Jesus was the long-awaited Messiah promised in their scriptures. At first, they remained involved in the Jewish community by regularly attending synagogue, keeping the Sabbath, and celebrating the yearly feasts. But other Jews, ones not convinced that Jesus was the Messiah, did not want any Christians participating in their worship, even if they were Jewish relatives. And so eventually, religious authorities may have officially excluded Jewish Christians from participating in synagogue services. John wrote to encourage these Christian Jews to persevere in their faith that Jesus is the Messiah and Son of God. The symbols and stories of their people, along with elements of the worship they had practiced their whole lives, had been merely shadows pointing towards the Messiah who had now come. John emphasized the signs that identified Jesus as the most complete revelation of God's grace and truth, and he presented the cross as the ultimate sign on which Jesus most fully displayed the glory of God. Not everyone who saw Jesus' signs responded in faith. Like today, many reacted negatively to them, or chose not to believe. The question we must ask ourselves is this: will we perceive what the signs are saying? Will we follow the direction they point even when others disagree? When we persevere in our faith that they identify Jesus as the Messiah and the only way to true life, we apply the John effect. If you found this video helpful and you want to see more, please consider donating on our website. Also, please like the video, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.